Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Operation Newblood. This is turn 10.8 and 10.9, the KMT in the US. With the KMT, we'll go ahead and get started with the buying of units. They have 10 to spend. They will be buying 3 infantry, and they will be saving 1. I'll go ahead and put that 1 right there so that I remember. Okay? All right, moving on to combat with the KMT. We do have combat, okay? So, sorry about that. All of the forces in Yunnan will be attacking the Siam infantry in Kwangtung, and Captain G has opted not to scramble his aircraft in Hong Kong, and also the infantry in Hunan will be joining the fight as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get you all looking at the dice board. Perfect. All right, so the 4 militia, I did forget to mention the 4 militia in Yunnan. Of course, they can't move. They will be staying in Yunnan. And we'll go ahead and get started. Let me pull these units over here so I don't forget what all is there. And also let me make sure that that's not a mountain infantry. No, it is. I'm sorry. I was looking at the French jungle. It is a mountain, so all of the land units will be a -1. And so, okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, of course, the anti-aircraft will not be participating because there's no aircraft. So, you have 5 infantry, 1 mountain, and 1 cavalry. And they're joined by 2 fighters that were lend-leased from our friendly allies. So we will go ahead and get started with the 5 infantry at a 1. 5 infantry at a 1. I see a 1. Okay. So that should be all I need. But we'll go ahead and do overkill. Cav, Tax, they don't have a mountain deficiency, so they will attack at a 3. That's a 6. The mountain attacks at a I think they attack at a 3. No, they just attack a regular at a 2. So that's 1, that's a hit as well, and then the 2 fighters at a 6. And that's a hit there. So 3 hits altogether. Takes out the Siam infantry, and they do get a defense at 4. And that's 4, so we will take out the cavalry. The cavalry is obsolete, so it will not be continuing and will perish. Okay? So, let me go ahead and get where y'all can see. Back it up just a little bit. Let me grab the units they're buying. And I need a KMT roundel. I'll just use this gray chip for the time being. Oh, there's a KMT roundel right there. All right, so the infantry is taken off. The Japanese symbol is taken off, and Kwangtung is not worth any. No, it is worth 2 IPP. So the KMT will move up 2 as they go on the offensive. And then the 3 infantry that I bought will go into Yunnan. And the infantry in Yunnan stayed with the KMT task force in Kwangtung. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the U.S. turn. We'll go ahead and get started with the tech rolls. So the U.S. will be rolling for improved construction, the first stage, airborne and amphibious to get them into the second stage, and heavy strategic bombers to get them into the third stage. So we have improved construction at a 7, and that's a 10, so that moves to stage 1. Then we have amphibious and airborne at a 7. Amphibious is 11, so that scores. And the airborne at a 7, and that's a 12. Can you see? I'm just moving this up. That's a 12. So that moves up. Those both move up to stage 2. And then heavy strategic bombers at a 9. And that is a 9, as you can see. So that will move up to stage 3. Hadn't been doing very good on technology as of late, but that was good to see. Good for the heart, good for the soul. So we will go ahead and move on to the units we will be buying with the U.S. The U.S. has, sorry about the shaking, has 56 to spend. They will be buying 5 light cruisers, 1 medium armor, and buying the fleet carrier that was in stage 2 of the build queue. It will be getting finished off and heading to sea. So we'll go ahead and move on to combat. Okay, so we do have just 1 combat. Let me get y'all where y'all can see. Okay, so we have the aircraft that were in the Pacific Northeast, the fighter, the 2 tactical bombers, and the medium bomber will all be attacking into the southwest United States, and the land units will be 3 infantry and 1 artillery. and they do have a mountain modifier deficiency at a -1, so they will attack at a 1, and the artillery will attack at a 2. The Japanese forces that are there, there is a militia, and there is an infantry. Okay, so we will go ahead and start this combat. Oh, like a bull in a china closet, I am knocking units over with my tripod. Alright, so the artillery gets a first strike at 2, and that's an 11, so that's a miss. And then the 3 infantry at a 1, and I see a 7, a 4, and a 4, so all those are misses. And then the fighter at a 6, and that's a 5, so that's a hit. So that's 1 hit. And then the 2 tacticals and 1 medium bomber, and the tacticals get a target selection at 3, it looks like. And I assume that's a 3 or less, but it doesn't matter anyway because 1's taken out. But alright, so this will be 3 at a 7 or less. Okay, I see 1 7. We'll call that the medium bomber since it's not since the other 2 are green. They can be the tacticals, but the 2 tacticals missed, but the medium bomber scored, and so that should be all of the battle. But the Japanese, the pesky Japanese, do get a defense roll for the infantry at a 4, and that's a 3, and the militia at a 2. That's a 7. So 1 defense hit, and we will take out the 1 infantry. We'll take out 1 infantry. And we'll go ahead and move those. Okay. The aircraft, they will all return to the Pacific Northeast. And, oh, I dropped one. And so they will land there. Okay, let me get this set right here. All right, so and the factory that is in the Southwest United States, it was a medium factory, if I remember correctly. So we will return the medium factory back to the U.S. and we'll place the 2 infantry and 1 artillery into the Southwest United States. All of the aircraft will fly back to the Pacific Northeast airfield where they can scramble if needed. All right. So we will go ahead and move to non-combat strategic movements. And I got a bunch, so bear with me. So let me go ahead and zoom out here for y'all. Okay. So we have the destroyer that is in P4. It will travel 1, and that is over to A9, 2, and 1 more to A8. And the Russians. Stalin is keeping his friendly mood afloat amidst all of the chaos in Europe, and he will let the destroyer pass him by. Okay? All right, so we do have one more over here in the Pacific Northeast. Okay, so in Chicago, there are 5 infantry. All but one will railroad to the Pacific Northeast. No, I'm sorry. The Western United States. Right there. And they will be joined by the infantry that was in the Pacific Northeast. Okay. And that Japanese is already trying to fight in the Western United States, but he cannot do that as the Emperor has not allowed it. Just so I don't have to move it as much, the tank will be placed in the Pacific Northeast for police units. All right. So now we'll stay over here on the West Coast. And let me get y'all situated here. Okay. So, let me start reading here. Okay. Alright, the warships that are in A30, they all have a range of at least 3. So they will all move to A39. Okay. A39. Okay. And the transport in A25 will pick up 2 infantry in New York, and will travel 3 as well to A39. The transport in A30 will travel 3 as well, bringing along 2 Marines. The 1st and 2nd Marine Corps into A39. Okay? The transport, or the infantry in the Heartlands, will move 1 and be picked up by the infantry in A36, and it will move 3 to A39. Okay. All right. So there was 1 infantry left in Chicago. It will move to the Northeast. I'm gonna grab a couple infantry so I can make sure that. Let me take that chip away. That's an infantry, and this is an infantry. Okay. So the 1 in Chicago moved to the Northeast. The infantry in the Northeast will move to DC, and it will be joined. Actually, that's not connected. So the 2 infantry in New York will travel 1 to the Northeast. Sorry, it's kind of crowded. This airborne is not in the Northeast, it is in New York. Okay. And the seaplane will go on map to A25. Let me grab a blue chip. So it will go on map. And the two of the destroyers that were on escort duty in A18 will travel 1, 2, 3, 4. They have a bonus of the Canadian major port there. So they will travel 4 to A39. And the light cruiser in A36 will travel 3 as well to A39. Okay? So that should be all. This destroyer in A37 will move 2 to A45 on convoy escort. Okay. All right. So that is all. We will go to place units and let me pick up all my people here. Right. So they're both major shipyards in A30. So the carrier is in the Carolinas. It will be finished built along with 2 cruisers, and the 3 other cruisers will be completed in DC. Okay? Alright guys, that should be all that I have for this American and Chinese turn. So I will give it over to Captain G for the German turn. You guys have a good night.